And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my peepo. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, this is going to be a very brief update on a story that we've been following, and that is the SNAP benefit cut, the SNAP benefit pause, the SNAP benefit you're not going to get your money that's happening right now because of the government shutdown. Now, I'm a little bit alarmed, y'all, because I'm seeing some major creators and even news organizations on YouTube who are not telling the people the truth, y'all. Now, I don't know if they're just kind of maybe playing fast and loose with the details, or maybe they're not fully informed. So I'm going to give you what you need to know about what's happening right now and about how your girl, Ketanji Brown Jackson, actually sided with Donald Trump. A lot of people were surprised by that, but I'm not surprised by it. And by the end of this video, you won't be surprised either, y'all. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First, we're going to take a look at a news report on how Brown Jackson sided with Donald Trump. Then I'm going to explain it to you, and I'm going to read this order from her, and you're going to have all the information. And when anybody says something false about this, you can correct them, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. But before we do, y'all, we are launching our official Patreon. So if you want to be a founding member on our Patreon, we have just 222 slots, y'all. If you want to be a founding member, go down, click the very first link in the description, and you're going to feel good about this, y'all, because believe it or not, we are an actual paralegal school, and we help people get their paralegal certificate and get working in the paralegal field. And all of the proceeds from our Patreon, when you enroll as a founding member, all of that is going to go to scholarships for people who would like to study at our institute, y'all. So click that first link down in the description. Join us as a founding member, y'all. This deal will not come back. Now let's get into the story.
Overnight, a Supreme Court justice temporarily blocking an order to release fully funded SNAP benefits. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's order, coming after the Trump administration appealed a decision from a federal judge who ordered them to pay up. The temporary pause gives the appeals court more time to weigh the legal arguments in the case. Attorney General Pam Bondi posting, a single district court in Rhode Island should not be able to see center stage in the shutdown, seek to upend political negotiations, and dictate its own preferences for how scarce federal funds should be spent. At least 9 states, including New York, Kansas, Pennsylvania, and Oregon, say they're starting to send full SNAP food assistance benefits. But the 42 million Americans who rely on SNAP are still in limbo.
Now, y'all, let me tell you what you need to know in order to fully understand this situation. See, the SNAP benefits cost, let's say, roughly about $9 billion per month. That's billion. That's 9,000 million, okay? A million, 9,000 times, okay? That's how much it costs per month. Now, because the government is not funded, those funds are not allocated for SNAP, right? So the money's there, but it just hasn't been divvied up because the government has not passed a budget. So besides that, there is an emergency fund of about $5 billion. So roughly half of the total monthly amount that people would normally get is there in the emergency fund. Now, the Trump administration initially was hesitant to tap into the emergency fund in order to half fund SNAP for the month. They have different things that they say, well, if we use the emergency fund, we won't have any more funds in case there's an emergency. We're only giving people half of their money. Different things they said. I went on record in previous video. I said, hey, if you have the emergency fund, you should use it, right? But anyway, they decided they would use it, okay? So they at first said they weren't going to use it. They said they couldn't. They said it wasn't legal. We still may need it if there's another emergency, all of this stuff. But then they decided they would use it. But then just a couple of days ago, a judge told the Trump administration, you have to fully fund SNAP, okay? That is where Ketanji Brown Jackson's order comes in, because the emergency fund only has roughly half of the money to fund SNAP. But after lawsuits, the judge said that the Trump administration has to fully fund SNAP. So now the legal dispute is this. Well, if there's no money for SNAP because Congress hasn't passed a budget, then where's the money supposed to come from? So many people believe that the judge is overstepping his boundaries because he's telling essentially the Trump administration to pull money from somewhere else to fund SNAP, and the money is not appropriated to fully fund SNAP. The money's not even appropriated to half fund SNAP, but there is a reserve, an emergency fund that they can pull from. So the Trump administration went to the Supreme Court. Once this judge said fully fund SNAP, the Trump administration went to the Supreme Court and like, hey, they can't tell us to do that. They can't tell us to use money that's not appropriated. So that's where the dispute comes in. Now let's see what Ketanji Brown Jackson had to say here. This is a very brief order, okay? The applicants are seeking a stay of 2 orders of the United States District Court for the District of Rhode Island. The orders require the applicants to fully fund benefits for the SNAP program for the month of November so as to distribute the funding by the end of the day on November 7th. Earlier today, the applicants asked the United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit to stay the district court's order pending appeal and to issue an administrative stay to facilitate its consideration of that stay motion. At 6:08 p.m., the First Circuit denied. So the First Circuit, the appeals court said, nah, we're not gonna honor your request for an administrative stay. So that stay was, the Trump administration says, look, the district court told us we need to fully fund this thing. We have emergency funds to cover half. The court can't make us go out and find other money that's not appropriated. That's not the court's job. So they go to the appeals court. They're like, hey, help us out here. Put a block on that for now. Appeals court's like, nah, we aren't going to do that. But the appeals court did state that it intends to issue a decision on the stay as quickly as possible. So the applicants filed an application to this court this evening. This would be the Supreme Court, requesting a stay of the 2 district court orders pending the disposition of the government's appeal to the United States Courts of Appeals for the First Circuit, and if the Court of Appeal affirms those orders, pending the timely filing and disposition of a petition for a writ of certiorari in this court. So basically they went to the Supreme Court and said, look, this is going to be going through the appeals court. They won't temporarily stay the order. Will y'all stay the order? That's where Ketanji comes in. The applicants assert that without intervention from this court, the Supreme Court, they will have to transfer an estimated $4 billion by tonight. Because remember, the emergency fund only covered about half of SNAP to fund SNAP benefits through November. Given the First Circuit's representations, an administrative stay is required to facilitate the First Circuit's expeditious resolution of the pending stay motion. It is ordered that the district court's orders are hereby administratively stayed pending disposition of the motion for a stay pending appeal in the United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So there she sees, obviously, they just told you to go find $4 billion today. And Trump administration is like, yo, you can't tell us to do that. So the Supreme Court says, well, for now, you don't have to go find the $4 billion while this works its way through the courts. And it was Ketanji Brown Jackson by herself who decided this. This was on her desk. She could have gone either way with this, and you see which way she went. So now you're fully up to date. Now you're fully informed. This was Ketanji Brown Jackson siding with the Trump administration, at least saying, look, for now, that extra $4 billion, that you don't have to go find it for the moment while this works its way through the appeals process. So now you know, y'all. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Would you have expected Ketanji Brown Jackson to be on Trump's side just yesterday? That was the same day that they issued that was like within 24, 48 hours of her issuing a dissent where she said the Supreme Court is too deferential to Trump, and now she deferred to Trump. Interesting, y'all. Drop a comment down below, y'all. Let me know what you think about this. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Y'all check out our Patreon. First link down in the description. Want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. We'll see you back in the next one.